Let's play some hockey. You are watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. Rosie's with us today, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated.
Yes, and Paramount Sports Management, where one day the doors will be open again.
We are really, really fortunate. We've had this gentleman on the show before, Darryl Sittler, number 27, one of the all-time greatest, for sure one of the best captains the Toronto Maple Leafs have ever had. We know about the 10-point night, the 5-goal night. It's incredible to have him back. We're going to talk to him a little bit about what we saw last night at 3-1. I was kind of thinking Montreal was going to take it away, but we'll analyze it a little bit with one of the all-time greatest.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite Sittler moments was when he scored on Vladimir Zarilla, when he made the little head fake, pumped around him, put it by Zarilla. The old when they were the not Czech Republic, but Czechoslovakia, dating.
You know how small the world is? He actually coached in a little city called Neuss, and I played a game in Neuss. I think it was 4th Division. He was down there, and he was the head coach.
Did you make a lot of noise when you played there?
He should have been in net, because I think we beat him by about 10.
Yeah, that was a good start. You know what? It was a good, not just the Leaf Hab game, but all the games. You know, the Hawks obviously got pumped by Tampa, which we knew that. The Colorado-St. Louis game was a good one. St. Louis won. Vancouver-Edmonton. Vancouver looked really good, and they played
really good.
I'm looking forward to watch Vancouver-Edmonton again tonight, because they shut the door on McDavid. It was a good game.
Really good. And you know what? McDavid had a fair amount of scoring chances. Wow. One of the things, we'll get into the Leafs and Habs in a few seconds. Darryl was drafted first round, 8th overall by those Toronto Maple Leafs. And we're lucky to talk about him. But before we do that, we have some news coming out of Chicago, your favorite team.
Yes. Yeah. Jonathan Toews on long-term injury situation. I don't know. We talked about this yesterday. I don't think you're going to see him in a Hawk uniform again.
Well, that's not good, because I just gave advice to Sam Trapolino in Adelaide. He was doing his pool, and he had to take somebody that was on the injury who's coming back. Yeah. And I, of course, said, hey, you got to go with Jonathan Toews. So we wish him all the best, and we do hope to have him back in the National Hockey League, because that would certainly be a loss. I think he's on reserve, isn't it called long-term? What is it? What is that exactly?
Long-term. I don't know whether it goes against the cap or not. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that it's a health situation, but I think there's a little more to it. I know him and Kane were very vocal against Stan Bowman in the summertime when the Hawks were doing all these moves. I guess it'll come out sooner than later. I just hope I hope if it's a health situation that he gets better and that he plays again, even if it's not with the Hawks. He's one of the best Canadian hockey players. He's won 3 Stanley Cups, 2 gold medals for Canada, and a super nice guy.
Well, you know what? We know that Val, our producer, will be down there finding it out. Listen, let's get our big buddy up here. MLG, Maple Leaf Gardens, held 16,000 people when Darryl scored his 10th point night. And, of course, Darryl claims that he met 30,000 people. He probably did. Knowing him, he's such a personal guy.
Yeah, it's like when the Blue Jays won the World Series. There's like 2 million people that were at the game.
Okay, listen, we've got our good friend Darryl Sittler. Mr. Sittler, how are you?
Hey, Gouche and Rosie, good to be back on your show again.
Great to have you back.
You look so good. It looks like you can still play.
Oh, no.
Helped you last night.
We're aging not very well, Gouche, but he's aging beautifully.
Yeah, the hair helps a little for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look at this mop. My hairstylist is on vacation. Somebody said go to Walmart and go number 5 on the sides and 16 on the front. I'd end up looking like Rosie. As we were just talking, Lucky's come on here and said his salary does not go against the cap. So that's a great thing for your Hawks, who did not look great last night.
No, well, listen, like we talked about yesterday, I could put the sled on and 10 years out of retirement and probably play goal for the Hawks right now. They're not looking good.
Hey, Darryl, obviously you were glued to the TV like all of us. Your thoughts on last night's game?
Well, I mean, obviously we were on the right side of the scoreboard. When you don't play any exhibition games and you start off, obviously it's the same for both teams, but everybody's pretty pumped up and excited. Hadn't played hockey for a while. We were fortunate, I think, when the Canadians were ahead 3-1. They took a couple penalties, and we capitalized on those penalties. And 5-on-3 put us back in the game. And then even in the overtime, Anderson made some real good saves. Canadians had a couple good chances to put us away, but we got the final break, and Riley scored. So yeah, we'll take the win. Especially, I mean, we all talk about this Canadian division and the number of times each team plays each other. So every game is important within the division, and you just have to go with the attitude that every shift, every period is as important as the next one. And there's going to be lulls in it because of the travel schedule and injuries, and who knows where COVID's going to come into the picture, but I'm sure it will at some point. So it's going to be an interesting, fun season for us fans in Canada to watch all these great hockey games. There'll be one after another every day and a couple of nights. So it's great.
I agree with you. Darryl, I wanted to ask you a question about a part of the game last night that I loved. When you played, like obviously the team was down 3-1. Simmons, who I think is a huge addition. I love the way he plays. He got into the little bit of a tussle in front of the net. It seemed to get the boys going again. Talk to us about how much that meant when you played, and maybe the team was down by a couple, and whether it was Tiger or one of the other guys that went out there and just got the bench going, looked to the bench like he went like that. Well, what does that mean to a team?
Well, first of all, back in the 70s, that was more the norm than anything. I mean, fighting Broad Street Bullies, those sorts of things. And there was 2 or 3 guys and maybe sometimes 4 or 5 on any given team. So the fact that it happened the way it did last night, I know our management looked at our team. Obviously, we were disappointed the last couple of years not getting through a playoff round and then losing to Columbus like we did. And they, I think, reevaluated things and realized a guy like Simmons is important to us. We're trying to play hockey so that you play the same style of hockey during the season, that when you get into the playoffs and it goes up a notch, you're not behind the 8 ball. So I think that was the message to the players at training camp. Our core guys, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and Nylander and John Tavares, they're all been in the league a few years now, and they know it's time for them to step up. And then obviously the support cast. So to bring guys like Simmons in, to bring Joe Thornton in with the experience, who's, he didn't win a cup, but he's been to many playoff rounds, and some of the other guys, the TJ Brody and Zach Bogash, and those all help. So we've revamped that part of our team, and last night was a good stepping stone to win the game. It would have been disappointing had we lost their first game at home.
Listen, obviously Wayne Simmons had 3 hits with 10 minutes in the game. Playing time. Thornton, 17 minutes and 30. What are your thoughts on Thornton? I liked him. I know that he had to be taken off the first line a few times. Pretty tough with those old legs, keeping up to those 2 young bucks, Marner and Matthews, but he didn't disappoint.
Well, Joe Thornton, he's a pro, and obviously in the off season, through the COVID stretch in October, November, December, he was over in Europe playing. So that certainly helped him. It's harder as an older guy, Gouche, to get back into shape. It's easier to stay into shape and keep going than to lose a number of months and then try to do it. So he keeps himself in good shape. He's fit, and he plays the wing, and he's a smart player. He knows where to go, and he obviously gives our younger guys the opportunity to look at what it takes to be a real pro, a game in and game out. I remember coming to the Leafs in the 70s, and I watched guys like Dave Keon, George Armstrong were on the team. These guys had won Stanley Cups, and even though they had won cups and they were the stars of the team, it didn't change their attitude towards practice or the way that they prepared themselves for a game. So we've got more of that in our dressing room this year, and I think it's going to benefit in the end.
Well, look, and Nylander had a very impressive start, of course, 2 goals in the blue and white game, comes out last night with 2 goals and an assist with 18 minutes. But the guy that impressed me, Paul, I know that we've talked about this, Riley, I was always a little bit concerned if he was going to be, that leader from the back end. Matthews had a good game, but he, obviously wasn't as brilliant as he has been over the other opening games. But that spinorama in the overtime to pass it up to Tavares, and then of course Tavares' incredible play over to Riley to win it. I was really impressed with Riley.
Yeah, Riley's he's a great skater, and again, he's a solid pro. He comes to play every night. He's good defensively and offensively. I mean, he's a solid player, and he's been in the league a number of years now. And we and his teammates look for him to have performances like that game in and game out. That's what is expected of him, and he doesn't let us down.
Yeah, absolutely. I disagree with you, Gouche, on the Matthews thing. Yeah, Matthews didn't score, but I thought he played really well. I thought he did everything but put the puck in the net, and he had some great chances. It's just we look at it because he scored 4 a couple of years ago in the opening game, and he's always put one in. But I think he played really well. Darryl, the Leafs now, they open up. They got the win. They started real nice. You get your 2 points. Now they go to Ottawa back-to-back. And Ottawa, I have them ending up in 7th, but having a really good year. They've got Stitzel. They've got some of the really, I think, a real good, solid core. And I love DJ Smith as a coach. What do you think it's going to take for Toronto to come out with back-to-back wins in Ottawa?
Well, I mean, you can't go into Ottawa underestimating them. They've got some good, young, talented, skilled players, and they've upped their goaltending, I think, somewhat. So they'll be prepared. And I mean, I don't think we're the type of team that would go in there not prepared, overconfident, so to speak, because we know there's so much parity in the league today, as we all know. And any given night, when things are going well, or good goaltending, bad goaltending, it's a fine line between winning a game and losing a game. So, and though Ottawa, because we're hoping they're going to be lower than us in the standings, are the team that you got to beat when you play them, because they're hard points to make up when you lose to teams that you figure are going to be low in the standings. So we'll be prepared. But again, there's going to be a lot of hockey played in a short period of time, and who knows what's going to happen each game. But I know our coaches are getting our guys well prepared and making them understand it's important that there's no letdown. You foot on the gas every shift, every game, and see where it goes.
Just a minor correction. I didn't say that Matthews didn't play well. He just didn't be the Matthew that I was expecting coming out of the chute. Yeah. That's what I meant. But what I wanted to ask Darryl, and the point why I think he also struggled a little bit, did you guys see the cross checks from behind? He was in front of the net on that one shift. He got it from Weber, and I don't know who the other much. He turned around and stood in front of that, and he got it right from the back. And obviously Matthews skated into pain. Darryl, why is that not a penalty? I know there's a lot of penalties being called in your day, and when I came up, we had the old hook you just grabbed on, and it was more like water skiing. But that doesn't hurt as much as that cross check to the back. Do you know if players are wearing special gear on the back? Because God, that could break the spine.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they are or not. I'm sure they're well protected. The equipment's way better than it was back when you and I played, but. Checks from behind, cross checks in front of the net were kind of the norm back then. If you wanted to go in that area, you knew you were going to pay the price. I remember Gary Dornhofer and different guys who would go to the front of the net and just take the abuse they had to, but they did that to screen the goalie or to get the goalie off his game or maybe get a deflection. But the thing with Austin Matthews, as he's maturing and he's taken on the responsibility that he wants to be known as a good two-way player, a guy that comes to play every night. And in order to be successful, you got to go into those tough areas. But the other thing is, every team, when they're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are they talking about? They're going to key on Matthews, they're going to key on Marner, and Nylander, because those are the guys, if you can get them off their game, you got a better chance of beating them. And those guys are going to get a lot of ice time. So I'm proud and encouraged to see Austin Matthews start out that way and play that way. He played that way in the series against Columbus last year. Obviously we come out winners, but you need your leaders. And I heard you guys were talking earlier about Jonathan Taves. When they were going through that period, he was my favorite player in the league because I liked what he brought to the game. He didn't have to be the leading scorer, but he made the other teammates play better. He'd go to the front of the net. He'd win key faceoffs. He would turn a game around because of some move or some play or some hit he made. So obviously Chicago miss him dearly, and like all of us, wish him whatever issues he's dealing with to get healthy and get back playing because it would be great. He's a great guy. I've met him a number of times, and he's a good team guy, and the league needs guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Want to ask you a question I asked Gary Lehman yesterday about this Canadian, the North Division, the 7 teams. There's so many fans out there that are Leaf fans or Canadian fans that haven't had this opportunity to see the Oilers or see the Canucks or the Winnipeg Jets, Calgary Flames. How excited are you? I know Gary was extremely excited now to be able to watch all these Western teams and get a chance to see the great talent we have in Canada.
Well, I think it's really, really good that way. I mean, when you have 32 teams in a league or 31 teams in a league, and you have the conferences and divisions set up the way they are, you might see Edmonton once or twice a year, Calgary and Vancouver. So now you're going to see them a lot. But the other thing it creates for a fan is to see the rivalries that come between them. So what happens in one game can be carried over the next game quite easily now, where before you might play a team in October and you might not see them again till February, March, and things are changed or forgotten. Even the lineups have changed. So from that part of it, it's going to be really exciting for the fans. And I mean, there's a lot of great young stars in Canada on all the teams, including Ottawa, Tkachuk and players like that. So I think for all of us, it's going to be a fun season. And I know a lot of people are picking the Leafs to be first, and that's awesome. But there's no easy way. I mean, you get a streak going, or either way, a losing streak or a winning streak, it can change in a 56-game schedule quite easily. So we got to stay healthy and we got to be prepared. And I look forward to it, as does everybody else, watching these great teams play against each other night in and night out.
You are watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. We're so blessed to have number 27, Darryl Sittler, with us, one of the all-time greatest captains of your beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. Darryl, we're going to talk about your 10-point night just before we leave because we've got so many comments. We want to pick your brain. A lot of people are asking the questions about Joe Thornton's leadership and what he means. So I just want to get a couple other questions in about the game. Were you impressed with the defensive core from Toronto last night? Some people were thinking if we're going to have a little bit of a weakness, that's maybe where it was. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's only one game. The defense core, we've got some experience. I think Riley played 25, 27 minutes last night, so he's our leader. But gosh, and he's a good player too. He'll play lots. But one of the things that we know, in order to be successful in the playoffs, you got to make it harder and more difficult for a team to get to your net and to fight to get a goal against you. You can't be an easy team to play against. And I think that's one of the things that our management has addressed the players to do those little things, both defensively in your own end and for the defenseman also in front of the net, to make it hard for a team to get a goal. I mean, Anderson, I believe, is a quality goalie, and you got to give him some protection too. I remember last year, lots of nights we were getting 40 shots against us, and you can't continue to do that and think you're going to win games just based on your goaltending. So yeah, defensively we're getting better and we're working on it. We have to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I really think Anderson is going to have a much better year and lead into the playoffs healthier, having a real good backup. And I think Campbell's a solid backup. I have the Leafs ending up first in the division of the 7 teams. I think Gouche had them in second. He had Edmonton in first. Do you think they're going to win the division? And if so, who's going to be their toughest competition over this 56 games?
I don't know. I mean, to me, you can't underestimate anyway. I think Vancouver's going to have a good team. They've been coming on, and they got some real quality players, and their goalie, got from Washington. He can make a difference in a team like that. So, I mean, I don't know who we have to beat to get there, but every team's going to be difficult. Winnipeg, they have a well balanced team. You know, they've got, again, good goaltending. They got they got solid players. They're big and strong. So you can't underestimate any of the teams in of the 7 of them. They're all good. I mean, obviously Edmonton rely on McDavid and Draisaitl to get most of their scoring points, but they can be tough to beat any given night also. So I don't know. I mean, I hope the Leafs are there. I mean, I know that it would be very disappointing for our organization if we didn't make the playoffs and get out of our division. It wouldn't be known to be a successful year if we didn't advance that far, especially with the additions we've brought in.
Darryl, we got a couple questions about last night's game, and then if you don't mind, we'll go on to the comments. A lot of people asking questions. Robertson last night, your thoughts? Obviously, the lines were switched up a little bit. There was a lot of talk about this kid. There's a lot of hype on it. You remember as a rookie coming in, and you had all these expectations put on you. How difficult is that? There's no fans. Does that affect them? Not affect them? What are your thoughts on being a rookie on this particular squad?
Well, Robinson, I understand he's a really competitive kid. I never met him. I mean, obviously with the COVID, we're not around the rink, guys like myself in training camp. So I only see what you see as a fan and hear and read through the paper. But he's got a great shot. And you got to be given the opportunity to be put in those positions to do what you do best. And obviously he's a scorer, So I was a scorer in junior, right at the top of the OHL. But when I came to the Leafs, I was a centerman. They moved me to the left wing, didn't play a lot. It took me till the end of November to score my first goal, and obviously I expected to score it sooner. But in reality, when you're playing maybe 6 or 8 minutes a game, and how many chances are you going to get? Chances aren't easy to get anyway. So you just got to give him time. I don't think put any pressure on him. Let him work his way into it. There's going to be an opportunity, and he just has to keep working at practice and keep mentally strong so that when his opportunity comes, things will get into place, and then he'll gain some confidence from it. So we got high expectations for him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you what you would, obviously pressure, playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs is pressure, whether it's in the 70s or 2021. If you had a chance, COVID stops, and you got a chance to go in the room and talk to some of these young kids, what would you say to them amongst, the pressure and how to handle it as a Toronto Maple Leaf?
Well, I honestly, I don't know that I felt pressure, because when you're coming up and you're one of the better players, whether you're on the midget team at Gouche, you'd know this, or then you go play junior and now you're one of the better players, there's always that pressure you put on yourself to succeed and be the best. And I've always believed, and still do today, if you're going to succeed, the importance of preparation is the most important thing. And how preparation happens is you do the little things game in and game out, practice in, practice out, and you work on the things that need to be worked on and are conscientious about it. So that's what I'd say to you, young guy. You just stick and be focused on what you do and what you want to do, and don't let any of the outside noise affect you, because it's up to what you do and your attitude game in and game out and practice that's going to make the difference, not what other people say or think about you. So, and if you do that, that's all you can do. You can look back. If you're not as successful as you had hoped, well, you can't kick yourself in the butt because you did the best you can. So yeah, that's what I say, and enjoy the opportunity when it's there. And again, look around and look at some of the leadership in the room, John Tavares and the other guys we talked about, and kind of learn from them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to bring up a point that one of my favorite Darryl Sittler highlights of my entire life. I just turned 60 this year. So one of my highlights, and it'll never change, is that incredible goal on Zarilla with the old Czechoslovakia. Talk to us about that. Do those memories flood back to that tournament?
Oh, definitely so. To back it up a little bit, so in 1976, so Canada was coming off the 72 series when Paul Henderson scored the big goal, and the European teams were just gaining respect from not only the players here in North America, but the fans to realize they're good players. So 72 was that series. 74, the World Hockey had a tournament, but didn't create a lot of interest. But then 76 was a next big tournament. And by then, guys like Borje Salming came over from Sweden playing with the Leafs, a few other European players. And still at the time, the Russians were communist, and so were the Czech teams. So going into that training camp, Canada invited 35 guys to training camp. You knew 25 guys were going to make the team, 10 guys get cut. And I went there with the attitude, as did Lanny, that, hey, I'm going to be prepared like I talked about early, and I'm going to do whatever the coach asked me to do to be a part of that team, whatever role. So Scotty Bowman went through the cuts, and he kept guys like myself and Lanny, and I was playing left wing on a fourth line checking line, but happy to be there to do it. We get into the finals, and I'm playing with Marcel Dion at center, Lanny at right wing, and I'm on left wing. We're in overtime, and I get the puck, and everything happened so fast. The Czech defenseman came out to kind of stop me at the blue line. I just tipped the puck past him and went around. And now Zarilla, the goalie, we had talked about him in the dressing room a few times about he's the type of goalie, if you're coming down the wing, he's going to come way out to the bottom of the hash marks, the circles. So make sure you look up and maybe you can deke him and go into the empty net. So that all happened to me. Zarilla came out, I looked up, made a deke, and I was on a bad angle, put it into the empty net. But one thing, when you ask, do I always remember that goal? Yes, I do, because that was the only championship team I was on. Wasn't fortunate to be on a Stanley Cup team. And here's the goal here, little fake slap shot, and there you go. But that team there, if you look at the players lineup on it, 19 guys went on to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Bobby Orr played. He was the player of the tournament, but that was basically his last hurrah. He was putting ice packs on his knees after every game, after every practice, just so he could get out to the next game. So that was an awesome team. Again, one of the things that stand out when we won the game in the Montreal Forum, Pierre Elliott Trudeau was the prime minister at the time. They presented us with a Canada Cup, but spontaneously we exchanged jerseys, and Peter Mahovlich started it. So we were wearing Czech jerseys, skating around with the Canadian flag, and they had our Canadian jerseys on. So it was a very emotional moment for us as players and obviously the fans, because we won the Canada Cup. And there was 827, Gouche, imagine.
Yeah, I saw that.
Scotty Bowman
was an awesome coach. We had a great group of guys, guys like Phil Esposito. The younger guys at the time were, Rick Martin, Gilbert Perreault, guys like myself. We were more of the younger guys on the team.
Well, I want to thank Val real quick for that one. I haven't seen it in years, and the 3 hairs that I have left on my head just stood up watching that again.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That was my comment about that. How good the flow of hair was on Darryl when he scored that goal. He almost looked like Ronnie Duque there for a minute. Hey, listen, let's move on to some of these great moments of yours. Obviously, Darryl will take you back to February 7th, 1976. Do you remember what happened?
That's every day everybody talks about that. It's amazing. 45 years ago coming up. 45
I
years
hate to say it. We have to bring it up because we've got great fans that are going on. So I have to. Here's Darryl. Was not at Sittler's 10-point night. He was at he was watching the Stones concert.
Oh yeah.
Man. All right. Walk us through it. I know you've done it a million times. You can do it in your sleep. Walk us through it quickly, please.
Well, back anytime in the 70s when you were playing an original 6 team on a Saturday night, that was a big game at Maple Leaf Gardens. The fans, there was always a buzz in the building, and there was always a lead up for the media coming into it. So on the Thursday before that game, Harold Ballard made a comment to one of the newspaper writers that if only he could find a centerman to play with Lanny and Errol, it would certainly be better for the team. And I was the guy he was cutting up, basically. So that created a little bit of controversy before it. So the day of the game, everything's basically routine. You get up, you go have a morning skate, Maple Leaf Gardens, you come home, have a little nap. Well, what happened that day, I got behind schedule. The traffic was bad, and I was whatever, and I knew my wife wasn't home. So instead of making my own pre-gamer, I went in and grabbed a takeout at Swiss Chalet chicken. So I remember eating the gravy and the chicken and the fries on my front seat because I wanted to get home and have a nap. And then sure enough, I go out and set a record. After the first period, I think I had 3 goals. After the second period, I had 7 points, and didn't really pay much attention to records. You were just playing the game. And the statistician Stan Abodiak came to my dressing room stall in the second period and said, "Darryl, if you get another point, you tie Rocket Richard's record of 8. He scored back in the 40s." So that's when I knew, hey, if I get another point, then you're in the record book, so to speak. Go out the third period and get another 3 goals. And again, it was a magical night. That night was the first night, and I don't know if they did it much after that, where Harold Ballard had a horn put in it, and every time a goal was scored, this horn went off, And there's Lanny notching one. Ian Turnbull takes a shot here. Dave Reese was the goalie, but they were all good goals right inside the post, Gouche, no bad goals there. Or you knocked that one out of the air, or I did, I guess. So, but again, it was a night. I always thought, I didn't realize, I guess, afterwards, really how big of a record that was. Yeah, it was big, but I always thought in the 80s and 90s that Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux might, get 8 or 10 points, maybe tie it. They did get 8 a couple of times, but here we are, all these great players later, and still hold the record. You look at Edmonton with Draisaitl and McDavid playing together, and who knows, on a magical night they could maybe.
Do you think it'll get beaten, Darryl? Do you think it? I know Sammy Gagner came close there. Is there? I personally, Paul, it's like the one for, I think it's Dennis Maruk with Ovechkin, 135 points in a season. I just don't think it's going to get beaten.
Well, it'll be hard for sure. I mean, very seldom ever 10 goals are scored by one team, let alone one player. So yeah, but that was Dave Reese last game. Jerry Cheevers, he had played in the World Hockey, and that weekend Cleveland Barons went bankrupt. So Cheevers came back, and he had practiced with the Bruins that morning at Maple Leaf Gardens, and he was sitting on the bench. But Don Cherry, the coach for the Bruins, wanted to save him and put him as his first debut back in the National Hockey League and in front of the hometown in Boston the next night. So poor Reese was stuck in there. But back then, even when a guy was having an off night, they didn't pull the goalies very often. They just let the goalie kind of work his way through it, so to speak, where now they can pull a goalie a couple times a game. That's kind of what the coaches do. So,
hey, listen, I wanted to comment. Unfortunately, I didn't get to Val fast enough. Val, thank you for bringing up these videos. They're absolutely incredible. Brings back so many memories. There was the final, I think it was the final goal where you're behind the red line. It goes off a defenseman, goes in between the legs of the goalie, and it goes in. You as a goal scorer know when it's your night, it's your night. Like, you can score goals.
Put my hands up in the air and said, just shook my head. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, the puck had eyes, and I did have 10 shots on goal that night, so 6 of them went in. But you'll Gouche play. Some nights you have a night where you're really on and you're playing well, but it doesn't end up in the scoreboard. And then there's other nights you're not playing as well, but you end up getting a hat trick or 5 points, and you say, okay, everything kind of went my way, so to speak. Well, that night it went my way.
So telling this story about the Swiss Chalet, have you got any royalties from them? Like mentioning that up, do you get a
Well, it's funny back then in the 70s, I guess somebody from Swiss Chalet heard it, so they sent me $500 worth of gift certificates back then. But you could buy a lot of chicken for $500 in the 70s.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Paul,
for a year.
I still eat Swiss Chalet today.
Yeah, I want to tell you a quick story about that. Playing in Germany, I think I've told it. I'll be really quick. We won. We were in the press conference. I was in my gear because I was a player coach. And in Germany, they had big buffets in the press room, and all the sponsors are there. So I love toffee fay. So the girl was coming around with these toffee fays, and would you like one? I said, of course. So I grab one, and then I grab another one, and I say, wow, these are my favorite chocolates, toffee fay. About a week later, it goes in a newspaper. A week later, I got 5 boxes of toffee fay. Like I could have used it for 3 years. So I learned really quickly.
Yeah, those are good. Hey, I just a funny story from my thing. Mutual friend. I know you're very close with Joey Arfin, and Joe was one of my dear friends for years and years and years. Darryl, one of our mutual friends, Bobby, just said, "Hey, Joe brought Darryl out to our shinny one night a bunch of years ago, and before we went on the ice, Joel told everybody nobody touched Darryl or they're in big trouble."
Well, Joey's a buddy, and Joey's a good guy. He and I have a strong friendship. He obviously does a lot for charity for Alzheimer's at Baycrest Scotiabank tournament, and he usually drafts me every year. Not usually, he does draft me every year, and his buddies at Jadico, they get out in the community to do a lot of charity work, and they invite me along. So good group of guys, and that's what it's all about. Your career's over in the National Hockey League level, and you guys know when you get out and play with guys, pickup game or a men's night or something like that. That's what it's all about, the fun you have and the relationships and the camaraderie you build through those fun games. So.
Absolutely.
Darryl, what do you miss? What do you miss most about being a player? We still, obviously, all three of us love the game. We're active in the game still. What do you miss most? Putting your skates on?
No, I don't know. I just the freedom, just getting out there and doing what you love doing. I was fortunate. Like a couple of years ago, I had back surgery, and then I had a knee replacement about a year and a half ago. So I hadn't played in 3 years now. But one of my goals before that was to be in good enough shape and be able to play on the Leaf alumni team to play in the outdoor game. What we played for the 100th anniversary. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, being out on the ice, the outdoors, just kind of reminiscing the past. The guys come in from all over the place where we live in different places, but you just kind of pick it up where you left off. Yeah, we're a little fatter, we're a little lose their hair, we're a little different. Some guys, whatever, but it all comes back to you. And I think those are the things that you miss most from the game. But when you do have the opportunity, and that's why so many guys, it's so popular to play alumni hockey and guys get out. It's not about the few bucks they pay you. It's about the charity or the camaraderie you have with the guys. And to me, that's
hey, Darryl, we had you over in Australia. Still, people talk about it. You being on the ice with Tiger, a good friend, Tiger Williams. I just want to reminisce about a practice we had. It was in a shopping mall. I think you'll remember this. You came out. You were the coach for Canada, and our buddy was the coach for the U.S. Tiger, you came out with a whistle, and you had the guys doing practices. Tiger comes out in full gear. Yeah. Ends up having a little scuffle with the guys. How good of a friendship. I know you guys were spectacular and well loved. And I know you guys, is he one of the guys, like I was thinking when you were talking about having these alumni games, and I go back to Germany a lot and meet guys I haven't met for 30 years. And it's like we never left, right? It's like we just continue on telling the stories. The goals got better. The excitement got better. The crowds were bigger. Who's the one guy that you haven't seen, let's say, for the longest that you just like to have a chance to have a coffee or a beer with?
Well, we're fortunate. Our alumni has things that guys try to get together. So, I get to see Lanny. He's obviously the chairman of the Hockey Hall of Fame, so he's in the city. And Tiger, he tries to get in when he can. Borja, we miss him. He's in Sweden, but he still comes over 2 or 3 times a year. And when he does come, we make sure we get together, whether it's after the game, the Leaf game, or doing something else. So those types of relationships, like you say, they go on forever, and you don't forget them. So you talked about Tiger, he's a character guy. He was not only he kept everybody in the league honest, and he kept his own teammates honest at practice, and you want him on your side, not on the other side. And when you say Cooch over in Australia, you saw him. when we had to get the rink boards up, he was over there helping the crew to carry rink boards and glass in, because that's who he was. He wasn't standing around because he's Tiger Williams, the NHL player. He's one of them, so to speak.
No, Darryl, you got the story wrong. You got the story wrong. We're all there. We needed some help. Tiger was watching these two young guys with this 250-pound pane of glass. And he went over to the young guys and said, "Get out of the way." He literally, how old was he? 61, 62?
Oh, I'd be 65. Well, he's 66 now.
Okay, so at that time, and he had the Popeye arms. Paul, I don't think he grabbed him. One. Okay, get out of here. He grabbed the next one. 250 pounds, and these two young kids are just looking, holy macalarchy. He's a machine. Yeah, he did, no question.
Darryl, obviously, you've got an incredible life. You've had an incredible life. You still do. You've done some things that people would have loved to have done. One thing you did was with my hero, my all-time hero, Terry Fox. I lost my leg many years ago, and as all amputees, all Canadians, but especially amputees, to see what he did. Some days I don't think I can go a block with my artificial leg, and this guy did a marathon every day from Newfoundland to Thunder Bay, and only stopped because the cancer came back. You got a beautiful portrait behind you, and you got a great story about you and Terry. Can you tell us about it?
Well, there's a memorable picture. I have that photo right there up in my home up north, and that was a special day that I'll always remember. But what happened with Terry Fox, I just innocently picked up a Toronto newspaper one morning at my cottage, and it was in April, and I started reading about this young kid. He had lost his leg to cancer. He was going to start to run across Canada. He just tipped his leg in the Atlantic Ocean, but he was going to run 26 miles every day. And I trained, and I knew what it was like to run 6 miles, 10 miles. But this guy, one leg, 26 miles every day, and it just kind of grabbed my heartstrings. And I followed Terry as he went through the Maritime provinces. He didn't get very much coverage at all. Nobody was paying too much attention. And then he went through Quebec, not a lot of attention. CBC might pick something up for the Globe, but when he arrived at the Ontario-Quebec border, the people here in Ontario met him there, and they asked if there was anything special that they could do for him when he was coming through Ontario. And Terry Fox asked them if he could have the opportunity to meet Darryl Sittler and to meet Bobby Orr. That would mean a lot to him. So I got a call from the president of the Cancer Society and said, "Terry would love to meet you. Would you like to?" And I said, "Would I love to meet Terry Fox?" So they set it up. Nobody knew we were going to meet. He had finished 13 miles that morning in Toronto. It was July the 11th. And I was coming down from my summer home, and I thought, what could I do special? And it was a spontaneous thing. I go home and I grabbed my All-Star jersey, the 1980 All-Star game, which happened to be in Detroit, and that was the game that Gordie Howe played in. They've been showing it sometimes on the classics here. But anyway, that All-Star jersey I put in a brown paper bag, went downtown. He had finished 13 miles, and I walked into his room, and I'll always remember the moment. He had just down tying his shoe up, and he looks up, and I said, "Hey, would you like to go for a run?" And I had my Terry Fox t-shirt on and my shorts, and I'll always remember that expression, the smile on his face, the greeting we had. We went down University Avenue. The streets were lined with people, people cheering him on, people with tears, people donating money, and I just stood back and let him run, the infamous walk that he had, and went into Nathan Phillips Square, and that's the shot there. There may be 10,000 people there. And I presented him with my jersey, and I got to know Terry Fox from that day forward, and I would keep in touch with him. And then when his run ended in Thunder Bay in September, because the cancer reoccurred, CBC did a marathon, a telethon of Marathon of Hope for Terry. And then what had happened, we started our season. We'd go to Vancouver and invited Terry to come to the Leaf dressing room. He was being treated with chemo at the time. But the thing that was most important, and still is today, of my meeting of Terry Fox, was what his characteristics of a person he was. He was a very humble guy. Yeah. It wasn't all about him, and his ego. It was about trying to make a difference in other people's lives. I mean, he could help somebody that wouldn't have to go through what he has done. gone through, then it'd be all worthwhile. So Terry Fox, that's why his picture sits in my home. There's not a time that I don't look at it and say, hey, listen, maybe I could do a little bit more. Terry Fox has been over $800 million raised for cancer research. It's improved the quality of lives for many people and give doctors and research people an opportunity to advance the cure of the disease. So he's my hero. Yeah, I was his hero, but yeah, we all have that opportunity every day to try to make a difference, and that's what Terry Fox has left with me. So.
Well, I would, on my last comment on that, I would tell people that don't understand what it's like to be an amputee and understand maybe a little bit what I have a state-of-the-art leg, and it's still not a great leg at all right now, and it's tough to get around. This guy, when COVID ends, I'm telling everybody out there, go to Sunnybrook to the J Wing, and one of Terry's original legs is there. Look at that leg and remember what that guy did with a leg that was with spit and vinegar. This kid is the absolute ultimate.
Yeah, I agree. Well said.
Hey, I'd have a tough time doing 26 miles in a car right now. So my hat goes off to him.
Stay at home, you heard, stay at home.
Yeah,
don't be driving your car.
I know. I went out to get Timmy's, and I was so nervous. I was looking around. I just found out the police can't stop you, so I'm doing a spot check. And listen, Darryl, before we let you go, we had the legendary Ron Ellis on the show yesterday, giving his prediction for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to ask you that in a second. Ronnie is such a salt of the earth. He brought your name up yesterday with just glowing reviews of you being the leader that you are. Give us a couple words about Ron Ellis, because you know what, I know that he doesn't. I don't think he gets as much recognition, maybe not just as a player, but he's touched Paul's life. When my father went through prostate cancer and I lost him, I got to tell you, he took me under his wing, and I would not be half the guy I am right now without him kind of getting me back on and saying, and he didn't know me that well. It wasn't like I was his buddy or I was a player. He just, I brought him over to Germany that one time. I'll tell you what, he is an amazing human being.
Yeah, Ronnie, when I started again in 70, he was one of the younger players on the team, and he was part of the 67 Stanley Cup, but he was a very classy guy, quiet, hardworking, kind of unassuming, didn't look for attention, always there, always made solid quality decisions, a good family guy, and just an all-around good team guy. And one of the things that I'll remember about Ronnie Ellis, when Dave Keon was no longer the captain of the Leafs and they were looking at who the next captain might be, Ronnie Ellis was the right guy in line for that because of the age, his respect he had from his teammates and the quality of player he was. And Jim Gregory went to him, our general manager, and said, we're thinking of naming Darryl captain. How would you feel about that? And he made it a strong opinion to Jim Gregory that Darryl should be the captain, and he would support it totally. And I'll always respect him for doing that, because it's a great honor to be a captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Ronnie could have been one just as easy as I was, so, and deservedly so. He could have been, and would have been a great.
And may I add, I forgot yesterday, I didn't bring it up on the. He was born with a club foot. Right. Yeah. And look at what he did with his career. So hats off to him. And of course, the friendship that you have with it. What does Darryl Sittler do now? Obviously, we're stuck in COVID. We've all learned to, get in front of these cameras and talk away. Paul, as you know, I think right now we're over 357 shows for the Gouche Live, something that we never thought we'd do that many. We had you on earlier, and we were trying to fumble and get it on. You came on like that this time. There was no issues. What do you do daily?
Well, I try to get up every day with a purpose. I mean, obviously, none of us thought the COVID thing would be as long as it has been, and even in the state it is today. I mean, it's probably worse now than it was back in March, which is unreal. But the sunshine or the light at the end of the tunnel, obviously, is the vaccination, which we're all anxiously waiting for everybody, not only here in Ontario but across the world. So I get up with something to do. I try to exercise. I took on some projects up at my summer home, things that I wouldn't have got done, whether it's cleaning out something, going through files, going through whatever, a little bit of a renovation. I like working with my hands and doing things. So rather than lay around, I mean, I've watched probably more Netflix than I've ever watched because there weren't any sports on. And so you learn to ask everybody what's the next good show, so to speak. And
there's some good shows out there now.
And you can do some marathoning with it for sure if you got a day where you got nothing else to do. But so all of that, what I miss most is the closeness I have with my daughters and my grandkids, because you can't give them the hug or sit on your knee and read them a story and do those sorts of things that you could do naturally before. So I miss that, but that'll come in time. Everybody respects it, but thank God we have the Zoom calls and the FaceTiming and all those sorts of things that we can stay in touch and keep it going. So again, my wife Lou was vaccinated. Her mom is in a assisted living place, and so she's spending time with her. But there's all those challenges that you go through too, that you got to be respectful of, not only your family but the people around you, so that you don't put them in a situation where it's they're vulnerable, so to speak. So yeah, it's all good. We'll get through it. I'm again, with hockey starting last night, lots of games. I'll be switching over to the hockey and not so much Netflix. No.
Hey, listen, some of the words that are going to be for 2020, Netflix. I'm not a Netflix. Thank God hockey's on, because I don't like that stuff. I'll tell you one program, guys. My wife's got me on it. It's called Flight Attendant. Oh my God. If you haven't seen it,
Gouche,
Google it.
It's only one season, and I'm on episode 7 of the 10. What episode are you on?
I don't know. No, Flight Attendant.
The girl from the Big Bang Theory is the star. It's pretty crazy.
Darryl, you got to get Flight Attendant. No better.
I'm starting to watch it.
It's crazy.
Oh, 3 episodes. Yeah.
I've got them all.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I just want to say that the other words that come to mind, who knew what Zoom was a year ago, realistically?
Zoom didn't know what Zoom was.
And the one word that I've learned throughout my life that's come to haunt me in 2020 is pivot. I was a 6-man quarterback back in Winnipeg. And as a quarterback, I was taught how to pivot. Oh my God, do we have to pivot? Every day we wake up, just as you said, Darryl, I have a plan, I'm going to do this, but all of a sudden COVID comes in, wipes that plan out. Okay, next, we got to go. So,
did you watch the Michael Jordan thing?
That was good.
Incredible.
Good. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. What a competitor.
Have you watched? I know, Gouche, you're not watching, so I'm just going to throw my girlfriend on my favorite show that we watched. We're waiting for season 4. It's Ozark. Did you see Ozark?
I saw Ozark. That was way back in March, that one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting for the next season. That's a great show.
Hey, listen, we got it, the all-time greatest Toronto Maple Leaf on the show, and we're talking about Netflix.
This is totally unusual for me. I mean, it's only because of COVID.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Darryl Sittler, thank you. Always a pleasure having you. You are one of the all-time greatest, not only as a player, but as a human being. Thank you for all you do for us. And certainly we look forward to having you back on and telling us maybe we can start planning the parade.
Planning the parade. I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, in Winnipeg. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, Darryl Sittler.
Take care.
Thank you, Darryl. Appreciate it.
Love to Luba.
Thank you.
What a great man.
I remember sitting with him and Tiger in a restaurant in Melbourne, Australia. The stories.
I never had a chance to go that tournament, obviously, because Canada won, and I'm the heartbreak of Canada's losing. But yeah, I've met Darryl many times, and one of the ones that stands out to me is when I met him at an event at the Mattamy Center, the old Maple Leaf Gardens, for Soldier On, an event with we had a bunch of amputees on the ice getting used to sled hockey, and oh my God, he lit these guys up and gals who were disabled, made them feel like $1 million. He's an incredible man.
Yes, he is. Hey, listen, tomorrow's show, 4:00, we have Stephen Ellis back. We're going to be breaking down the last 2 nights of hockey. Obviously, what went on in Toronto, Montreal, as we've all talked about it. We'll see what our predictions were, how well we've done. He's going to break down every game for us. One of my favorite people, Stephen Ellis, tomorrow. Do not miss it. Nicholas Fiore is also going to be with us. He is, I hope I said his name right. I was pretty good on names today, so I'm going to give myself a pass. But I'll tell you what, he's the play-by-play and the official voice of the Oakville Blades. And we want to find out what is going on in those type of junior leagues.
Okay.
Obviously, they're shut down. And what is the future? A lot of these teams, will they be back in 2021? Great show tomorrow. Do not miss it. Of course, Saturday, our favorite, Talking with Taylor. We'll be breaking down the Jets play tonight.
Yeah, Oakville Blades, a real good organization, tier 2 organization. We'll see what has Patrick Liney been traded yet. Stop it already. Jeez, stop it already.
No, Rosie. It's back on. No, it's back on. There's talk about trades right now.
You know what? When he gets traded, let's talk about it. Until then, leave the kid alone already.
No, wait, I'm all over it Saturday.
I'm looking forward. Yeah, you're going to talk to Taylor. He's going to get pissed off about the ready. You know what? I'm looking forward to the rematch of Vancouver and Edmonton. That game was great last night. Vancouver played really well. I was surprised. I thought Holtby, and I'm not a massive Holtby fan, he played really well, made some big stops.
All right, to close off the show, that's what we're going to do. Thank you for an incredible idea. Let's pull the games up. We're going to show these people who knows what about hockey. All right, we're going to go tonight. Winnipeg Flames. If Val, you're there, if you got a pen, write them down. You can give us your afters. All right.
What
Jets?
Go to the
Jets Flames.
Jets Flames. I'm gonna say.
3-2 Jets.
Say it again.
I'm going 3-2 Jets.
And I'm going 4-3 Flames.
Of course you are. San Jose, Arizona. I'm gonna go. I'm going 4-2, and I don't think for the San Jose Sharks, and I don't think Evander Kane is going to be in because he's in lockup in one of the casinos in Vegas.
So you're going 4-2 for San Jose?
Yep.
I'm going 4-2 for Arizona.
Of course you are. All right. This is a good one. Caps, Sabres with our buddy Chara in the lineup. I think it's going to be 5-2 Caps. Even though I'm going to go 5-3. I'm going to give.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. 5-3 also Caps.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, we'll circle that one. Boston Devils. Bruins Devils.
I'm going to go upset. I'm going to go 3-1 for the Devils.
I was going upset just because of the, not that I'm trying to follow you, Paul, but I just feel that I think there's going to be this lull of a number 33, the C, even though Bergeron is a great choice for the captain. You can't take that away from him. I'm going to say it's going to be 4-2.
Okay. Is Val writing all these down?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
What did you say?
I said, oh my God, what did I say?
3-1.
I said, it was the Devils in Boston, you said?
Yeah, you said 3-1.
3-1 Devils.
Here's another look at this. I think this one will end up one of those unbelievable rivalries. Rangers Islanders.
Oh, I like this. I'm going 5-4 Rangers.
Val, are you writing this down? Is Val there?
Val, you home, Val?
Come up, Val. We need you up, Val. Start again.
I have a pen. Oy vey.
All right. Everybody that's watching, we apologize. Here we go. Let's go. I got it right here. Calgary. Come on, Val. You got him? All right.
Oh, he was joking.
Write yours down and don't cheat. It's for a 5-pound can of maple syrup beans, which I've got upstairs.
Why don't we just go for a coffee on this one?
All right, here we go. Islanders, Rangers.
I said 5-4 Rangers.
I think it's going to be 4-2 Rangers, and I think Lafreniere is going to show us why him and Stützle are going to fight for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I agree.
Hurricanes, Red Wings. This is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I like the Hurricanes 6-4.
I like the Hurricanes 5-1.
Okay.
Blue Jackets, with all the controversy. I don't know if you saw last night, Tortorella and the story about Dupuis.
Yeah.
Dupuis wants out. He wants out.
Yeah, I know. That's what they were talking about, Dupuis to Winnipeg for Line, straight up.
Not happening. He's not happening.
Dubois, not Dupuis, Dubois.
That's what I said. No, Dubois.
Dubois.
I call him Dupuis.
Okay. All right. So what do you say? Who'd you say? Columbus and who?
Hang on, I'm dealing with Siri. Siri just came on. Go off. I'm going to go with, how did Siri come up?
Who's Columbus playing again? You didn't say.
Predators.
So I'm going to say Columbus is going to win 4-3.
I'm going Predators 5-2.
Okay.
Oilers, Canucks.
I'd say Canucks go back to back, and they get them 6-4.
I go the opposite. I go 5-3 Oilers. I think Draisaitl and McDavid are going to light it up.
All right. We get a point for a win. The one with the most points buys the other guy a copy.
Ooh, here's some interesting news. The Ducks, Golden Knights.
Oh, there's another one. Okay, I thought we were done.
No, there's a couple more.
I like the Golden Knights to really come on strong. I'm going to say 6-1.
Oh, my God. Okay. 4-2 Knights. Okay. Wild Kings.
Who cares? No, that's not nice. I'm going to say the Wild will win 4-2.
I'm going Kings 3-2. And here is the shocking news. We know it already. Dallas Stars against the Florida Panthers.
Dallas Stars have like 4 players in the lineup. I'm going to say the Panthers will win 4-1, and Bobrovsky plays incredible.
Well, he's going to play incredible on the parking lot because it's postponed.
Oh, okay.
All right. I sure hope that Val got those because I screwed up after the Winnipeg one. Doesn't matter. A lot of fun. We'll do that really quickly at the end of every show just to see how well we do, see who knows what they're talking about. I don't. Remember, I was a kiss to death last year in the playoffs. Maybe I can turn it around. Listen, you've been listening to Gouche Live featuring my good buddy Paul Rosen, brought to you by Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated.
Hey, I want to just say one last thing before I go. I want to thank everybody that watches Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. You guys are like a family. Everybody sending the best wishes to my dad through my brother, my sister, and myself. Really appreciate it. Gouche, I know you've lost both your parents. I only have my dad left, and he's fallen apart pretty fast. Maybe tonight, if you got an opportunity and your parents are still alive, say hi, because you never know when it's going to end.
Give him a hug. Paul, we're all thinking of you, your sister, Gail, just a wonderful human being, your brother, Stephen, who is obviously has a man crush with Scott Taylor, and of course yourself and your father. We're thinking of you as the days goes on. All right. Until tomorrow, don't forget, 4 o'clock. You know who we got? We got Stephen Ellis, one of the smartest men in hockey, and he's only 22.
It pisses me off.
He's the Liam. Oh, put the disclaimer up there. He's the Liam McGuire of hockey.
Yeah, well, Liam knows the NHL and that like the wins and that and whatever. This guy's got he's just got the knowledge of the players, and it blows me away.
It's crazy, and he's almost as good as Val. We say something, it's like Val's like the OK Google, right? OK Google, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's there. You talk about the 10-point and up, we got a video.
Yeah.
You talk about Terry.
The difference between Steve and Val is Steve says it, Val does it. Val's got everything going behind the scenes. He's like the Wizard of Oz. As long as the curtain's shut, man, he's the man. You open the curtain, and then we got problems.
You know what? Wizard of Oz, is that the Walk the Golden? Is that the Yellow Brick Road?
No, the guy, the wizard behind the curtain. You never saw the Wizard of Oz?
Isn't that where the girl has the shoe?
Yeah, Dorothy.
Yeah. I'm thinking he's more like not the lion, the guy that has no brain. What's that guy's name?
No, don't say that. That's the Tin Man.
No, he's got
the Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
No,
That's
don't do that.
Hey, listen,
Val,
really quick. Think about this. There's three of us. You, me, Val, that run the show. All right. Who are you in The Wizard of Oz?
I'm the guy with no brains for sure.
Okay, what's that guy's name?
The Scarecrow.
Okay, you're the Scarecrow. Who's Val? What's Val?
Well, there's only the lion with courage and the one with no heart. And Val has heart and courage.
Okay, I know who I am.
Who are you?
Dorothy. I'm the wizard.
Dorothy. No, Dorothy's not the wizard. The wizard is behind the
I'm
curtain.
the wizard. I said I'm not Dorothy. I'm the wizard.
Oh, okay. All right.
Big Dan, thank you. Hey, listen, how is Sudsy? We're thinking of him every day too. Ludsy is our big buddy. I called him Sudsy because I was just thinking of a message I got from your good friend.
No.
Yesterday, Sudsy came up many times. I was trying to think, who is it? It's Malcolm Sutherland.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I apologize. Our heart goes out to Ludsy. Thank you for obviously keeping us informed, Dan, and thank you for thinking of Paul and his father at this time. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Thank you, Val. You're the wizard.
You all.
Let's play some hockey.